In late 1944, an unknown type of balloon was discovered in Montana, its wreckage found in the forests. Similar devices had been found all over the United States, and it was not entirely clear where they had come from. Upon closer inspection, the balloons were of Japanese origin. When these discoveries were combined with a large number of unexplained explosions and craters being reported, the answer was clear. Imperial Japan was utilizing the first intercontinental ballistic weapons to attempt to target the United States in an unprecedented attack. In today's video, we will look at the device designed to start forest fires and spread panic amongst the American population, and just why such devices thankfully failed in their goal. It is perhaps helpful to start with just why such balloon bombs were developed. In April of 1942, Lieutenant Colonel James Doolittle devised an air raid attack on Tokyo. The main goal was to increase morale and deliver at least a propaganda victory against the Japanese. Whilst the damage done was relatively minor, Japan wanted its own strike at mainland United States in response. The Noborito Laboratory, a Japanese weapons research center, was tasked with developing ways to launch bombing campaigns against the US, with some of the suggestions including planes that would have enough fuel to carry out the run, but not enough to return. Instead, the researchers revised an old plan from the 1930s, named fugo. Fugo was a proposal to use hydrogen balloons to deliver bombs to a target. The project was revised, and work began on increasing the range. The focus was initially to release the balloons from submarines closer to the United States coast. But due to a lack of available submarines, the researchers looked to other methods of deployment. In order to deliver the balloons the near 6,000 miles from Japan to the United States, the researchers utilized the Pacific jet stream. It was calculated that if the balloons held a height of around 30,000 feet, they would reach the United States within 3 to 4 days. Work was then put into ensuring the balloon kept to the right altitudes and to ensure the balloon wasn't burst by the changing air pressure. The balloon itself was made from washi paper and filled with hydrogen. The balloons were fitted usually with 4 payloads of incendiary bombs and 1 anti-personnel bomb. The primary goal of the balloon bombs was to cause forest fires in the Pacific Northwest of the US. In doing so, the US would need to divert part of its war effort in dealing with the disruption. It would also then deal with a significant morale defeat on the civilian population, who would now know that despite the thousands of miles that separated the two countries, Imperial Japan could still reach out and harm them. Capacity for launching the balloons was around 200 a day, with plans to launch as many as 15,000 over the course of the offensive. In November of 1944, the first balloons were launched, though they were first carrying radio devices to allow for tracking. The US soon started to receive reports of these balloons, the first being found in the waters off San Pedro, California. The balloons were then found in ever-increasing numbers all over. From Hawaii to Montana, from Oregon to Alaska, reports were coming in thick and fast. Explosions were even witnessed by some. The American government went into high alert and soon uncovered that the source of the balloon bombs was Japan. The Wartime Censorship Office stepped in and requested that the media did not report on the new devices. Meanwhile, the military was mobilized to high-risk locations to combat fires if such blazes were ever started. Park rangers were put on alert to notify the military of any balloon sightings. The United States were truly worried, but more so about the bomb's capabilities to deliver biological weapons. As well as balloon sightings, officials were also ordered to report any new infections of livestock or crops for fear of signs of a biological attack. Response teams and protective equipment were to be made available. There were, however, never any plans for the Japanese to use a biological weapon payload for the balloons. Thankfully, there was little damage inflicted by the balloon bombs. One notable incident involved a balloon landing on power lines supplying the Manhattan Project's production facility. This caused a power outage that delayed the production of plutonium, a material used in the Fat Man nuclear bomb. The only known deaths caused by the balloons would occur on the 5th of May 1945. Reverend Archie Mitchell, his pregnant wife Elsie Mitchell, and 5 children from the Sunday school were out for a picnic. They drove to the Fremont National Park in Oregon, and whilst Archie was parking their car, the children and Elsie came across an unexploded balloon bomb. Unaware of what they had come across, it is thought that someone tugged or touched the device, triggering an explosion. Tragically, Elsie and all 5 of the children were killed. A monument at the site was constructed after the war. As a result of the media blackout, the Japanese military had no way of knowing whether their attacks were successful. Whilst there was little to point to, the Japanese media ran fake stories of the panic, deaths, and destruction caused by the balloon bombs. Between the lack of evidence for the effectiveness and the declining state of the Japanese war effort, the balloon bombing campaign was ended in April of 1945. In all, some 9,000 balloons were launched, yet it proved to be largely ineffectual. The weather conditions for forest fires were not optimal, with the wet winters meaning there was little chance of a large-scale fire. It is thought that only 10% of the balloons would make it across the ocean and reach the mainland of the United States. Of these, little if any damage was inflicted on the American war effort. However, many of the balloon bombs still remain unaccounted for. Most recently, a balloon bomb was located and destroyed in Canada in 2014. What is quite disturbing is that there are likely many more out there, and have the potential to be deadly.